So iOS 18's generative AI features might use Google Gemini. That's the depressing headline. Apple could use Google Gemini to power the generative AI features reportedly coming this year in iOS 18. Apple and Google are reportedly in, quote, active negotiations about the possibility, but have not yet finalized a deal. Apple also held talks with OpenAI and considered using ChatGPT, according to this new report from a little news source called Bloomberg. Uh, Apple supposedly looking for a partner to power generative AI and cloud-based features, things like creating images and writing essays based on simple prompts. Apple supposedly worked on something called Apple GPT. We talked about this before to power its applications and services. However, citing anonymous sources, this new report says Apple's chatbot, quote, remains inferior, close quote, to what Google has to offer.
Boy, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, right. Oh, my God.
Gemini, here we go. It's going to be fun.
Wow. And what is this, like 2-3 weeks after Apple kills the Apple Car project to focus on generative AI? And then suddenly we get this report saying, oh, they're going to have to outsource it because they just don't have it together. So and outsource it to Google Gemini of all things.
The thing about that was 2 weeks ago. The employees who they reshuffled probably haven't even moved their desks to the new department yet. You know, you wouldn't see results that fast.
No, I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying this is like yet another sign that they're desperate. They're desperate to hop on this AI bandwagon. And so, you know, maybe this is they do exactly what they did with Google Maps, right? Like, we don't have a mapping product, so we're going to use Google's for a couple of years while we get our act together, and eventually they release something better. But I don't know. It's this is. I question how much people really need generative AI on their iPhone. I mean, it's already there.
Oh, dude, it's the future. It's the future.
But does it really need to be baked into Pages? Does it need to be baked into every single aspect of everything we do? I mean, you can already get a ChatGPT app. You can already do all these other things. I don't know. To me, it seems like flavor of the month, but whatever. Everybody seems all excited about it.
Another theory I read is that Apple incorporating Gemini will be sort of just like one of many additional tools that they'll have in like their full suite of features. Like there will be a few Apple powered, homegrown AI features, but Gemini will be one of many things that comes, like when you ask Siri a question that it doesn't know and it has to look it up on the internet, instead of saying, here's what I found on the web for this, it'll ask Gemini instead, but it's not like all of Apple's features will be dependent on Google's product. Because it's the Steve Jobs and now Tim Cook mantra. Apple needs to own all of their own core technologies. I don't think they've given that up, and they've been working on this for so long. I imagine there still will be a lot of, at least I really hope that not all of Apple's features that they're coming out are just going to be a repackaged version of Gemini.
And what they're talking about here too, though, is like the stuff that doesn't run on your phone, right? The real critical stuff that Apple's supposedly creating that will run on the iPhone. And then so basically when it goes beyond that, it sort of rolls over to Gemini or whoever they make a deal with to handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And this is on the heels of the Gemini image gen stuff that happened. And I'm like, wow, Apple still thought, I mean, look, maybe Google's going to fix all that stuff, but it's still pretty fresh. Like you'd think that you'd want to postpone, a partnership with them to see how that goes, right? And to see
I bet they weren't happy to hear this. What
this
gets news breakout?
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe that they were negotiating before that got released, but that was a pretty big debacle. I mean, the memes live on, and now here we have Apple trying to partner with Google, which they have other partnerships with Google, so that's probably why. Like I have no doubt that maybe Google even reached out to them to see if they could partner on something like this. But yeah, Gemini coming to iPhone for the chat stuff, I think it's probably going to work great. For the image stuff, we're gonna have to wait and see. Jury's still out on that one. I don't know. Have you guys heard anything about like the image gen update? Like they're clearly going to be working on Gemini to fix like the problem they were having with like all the race swapping and everything that it was doing. but I don't know when they're planning on updating that and re-releasing it. Have you guys heard anything?
No, I was just reading the the Google's apologies and mea culpa and talking about how bad this thing was when they launched it. That's the last I've heard about it, really.
I mean, we could go on and on about that. I mean, just
How they're gonna fix it.
Well, not only how they're gonna fix it, but how did they release it in that form? I mean, they had to have tested this thing extensively. So it's not like that functionality was a surprise. I mean, clearly they knew how it worked. Or maybe there were certain use cases. Well, there probably are many use cases that they missed. And when it got released, they're like, oh, whoops, like we didn't account for that, right? But nonetheless,